For more than 3 decades, Texas Stadium was one of the most recognizable and admired football stadiums in the country. It was home to the Dallas Cowboys and hosted hundreds of other events, concerts, celebrations. So stay with us as we bring you the story of this iconic stadium from first design to its final curtain call. Hi everyone, I'm Lance Brown, and we are going to look back at the history of the stadium known for the hole in the roof, so God could look down at his team. We will also look ahead at what the future holds for this site that saw so many great moments in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. It was the vision of one man who combined with local leaders to bring the Cowboys to Irving in 1971. Cowboy owner Clint Murkison Jr. was looking for a new home for the Cowboys, who were playing at that time in the Cotton Bowl. Well, they were unable to work out an acceptable deal with the city of Dallas, so Murkison approached Irving about the possibility of building a stadium that would set the standard for all future facilities.
Mr. Murkison had several conversations with the Dallas people, and he wanted to build a downtown stadium. And he kept repeatedly getting turned down. They insisted he ought to play in the Cotton Bowl. They all had this great love affair with the State Fair of Texas. So anyhow, the word was out that he'd like to visit some of the area cities. Lynn Brown was mayor at the time, and for whatever reason, Lynn was reluctant to go meet with him. And I was mayor pro tem, so I was invited to go visit. And had a good meeting with him. He brought his model out there and said, "This is what I'd like to do." And after that meeting, well then, Bob Power decided to run for mayor against Lynn Brown. So when Bob got elected mayor, then he picked up the chalice and really went with it.
I'm proud of what the people of Irving did. We set out a program, and it has all turned out exactly as we predicted that it would.
Created a revolution in financing for stadiums, the way it was built with no taxpayer money, user fees in the form of seat licenses and bonds were sold, and the owner kicked in about 1/3 of those costs, to get the privilege to operate that under that Texas Stadium contract for all those years. So it was a very forward-looking move on the part of the leadership at that time.
That's one thing that I admire so much about Irving is the fact that those leaders then and now have great vision about our city and want to do things that make it nationally recognized.
I remember 69 or 70 seeing a small scale model of the stadium down at Channel 8, and then bingo, it turns out to be a reality.
Texas Stadium would host more than 300 NFL games, from the opening victory over the New England Patriots October 24th, 1971, to that final contest in the storied history of the facility. Well, a very frustrating loss to the Baltimore Ravens December 20th, 2008.
It was a sentimental time, and we had, of course, Mayor Power and Mayor Metcalf, and also Mr. Maury, the architect of the stadium, there down on the field, and were recognized by the fans and by the organization.
It was good to see old friends and family, and I call the Cowboy tradition a family. I played my whole career here. It was a great time, and just to see all those players and the memories and the thoughts and the wins and the Super Bowls, and it was everything.
That was a great night, as a matter of fact, because of the fellowship and the coming together, the reunion of the players that had played in that stadium.
I saw guys that I hadn't seen in 10 years, and it just brought back a lot of memories. And of course, when guys get together and the stories start flowing, some of them are true and others are fictitious, some are made up, but we had a great time. It was a great experience for us.
That was the fun part, seeing the Randy Whites who used to take a nap on my couch, to Roger Staubach, to, you name the player, I saw him that night. And it was great to get all the hugs and a little high five here and a little high five there. But it's important, and it's a part of history.
It was sad, very sad. A lot of people were crying. My wife was very upset. It's something, at the end of an era.
Everybody felt it in that stadium. I mean, it was just a group sigh when the game was over. It's just a shame we didn't win that last game.
When I stood down there on the field and called out the names of the players who had come out, and every person who I saw, every face, then I remembered relationships with them and games that they had played, and that makes you emotional when you stand up on a stage with all of those great players.
Everybody knew it was a historic moment. They wanted to participate in it. The place was packed. The crowd noise was loud, and everybody was having a good time, and they made it a memorable last night at the stadium.
In the 37 seasons the Cowboys called Texas Stadium home, they won over 200 games and raised 5 Super Bowl banners. Fans were treated to the exploits of Hall of Fame players like Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin.
We played in '71, opened the stadium in the middle of the year, and Craig Morton and I were kind of battling back and forth, but I got a chance to start that game against the New England Patriots. And remember Bob Hayes catching the first touchdown pass, and there's a lot of great memories.
I was working as the radio analyst at the time with Bill Mercer, the first game, and Dwayne Thomas scored the first touchdown there against New England in 1971. And it does have so many memories.
It was a new type of AstroTurf field. We had to have special shoes, and it was just such a huge place. And they had luxury suites. We didn't know what luxury suites are. It was the Roman Coliseum. Where the lines are going to come out and eat all this this warriors down here.
It was our stadium, designed for us by Clint Murkison, and when I say our, I mean the Dallas Cowboys. It was a wonderful place to watch a game. It was thoughtfully planned so that the fans would enjoy everything about it. And I had great times there. We won most of the time, and we had great teams.
I started out in the Cotton Bowl when I came to Dallas in '67 and went into Texas Stadium. And probably Texas Stadium was the most awesome football facility in the whole National Football League.
There were so many things unique about it. The hole in the roof, wrapped around America's team, which is where the saying began, God wanted to watch his favorite team play. That started back in the early 70s. So yes, we've had, that's been an important part of Irving history for a long time.
The hole in the roof was something unique because at the time you're supposed to play in the weather, but the fans were covered, but then when the wind blew, the fans weren't covered. They got wet as we did. So, but it was a great stadium.
It was special to me and special to a lot of other players. Some of my greatest memories, certainly professionally, were right there at Texas Stadium.
One of my favorite memories was probably my first preseason game there. Just being able to walk out on the field with that star on your helmet, looking around and saying, wow, I'm actually playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm just a small country boy from down in East Texas, went down to the University of Houston, came to Dallas and Texas Stadium. I mean, at that time, this is one of the greatest stadiums that they had built at that time.
We played in front of a lot of great fans during that time frame.
I was proud to be cheered in Texas Stadium, and I was booed a few times at Texas Stadium. I had a few real buttes, but overall we really had a great time in Texas Stadium, and that was the state of the art. It was 900,000 square feet, and man, it was something else.
Having fan support is always what any team wants, and just playing there in Texas Stadium was just, everybody knows Texas Stadium, so it's something that be remembered for the rest of everyone's lives, and just was blessed to be able to play in there.
Thanksgiving games, it's just just monumental games. I remember the Chicago Bears. We had a big game against them. Matter of fact, Roger got hurt, and Glenn Carano came in the game, and that was his first time. Actually, the first time that he had played a substantial amount, and we made a great win in that game. And those are the fond memories.
Probably the memory that stands out the most would be when I would hear the announcer say, "And now the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders," and taking the field and feeling the energy from the crowd. It was just really amazing to be a part of the Dallas Cowboys in Texas Stadium.
The people, after the games, going in the parking lot, having our tailgate things, Ernie Stautner keeps coming in my mind. That's a special part of my life. And, Bruce Hardy ran the stadium.
Running off the field with Troy Aikman, his arm around me, and then going in the locker room and the high fives and the hugs. Nothing will ever replace those moments.
They could blow it up, implode it, dynamite it, whatever they're going to do, but what they can't take away are the memories that were created there. And not only for the players and the coaches that were all part of that for all those years, but for the fans as well. The fans appreciate those memories, and they'll live on with them forever.
and what it's meant to the city of Irving to have that stadium here and God's team play here. And it's brought a lot to the city of Irving. It's made us known all over the world, probably.
And it wasn't just what went on inside the stadium that made those games memorable.
Still remember that, you know, you guys have to work Texas Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, and I was like, have to? You mean we get to? That's awesome.
Washington Redskins games, the Philadelphia Eagle games were always, you know, plenty of fights and very active for us.
Usually starts out at least in fun, you know, aggravating each other, and then it'd be a huge difference of whether it was a game that the Cowboys would win or lose. You know, you can see some differences in the people and the attitude that would come out.
My favorite thing was always, and you get this a lot, you're standing there directing traffic. I'm on the ring road, the road going around the stadium, and somebody would go, where do I park for Texas Stadium? And you just look at them, and you look over at the stadium, and you look back at them, and you go, right there. That was the greatest question ever. Where do I park? And you're standing right there next to it. How about in the parking lot?
The stadium also played host to countless other events, from high school football games to concerts.
And I remember, of course, the first event was the Billy Graham Crusade that I had the opportunity to attend. And that was a real opportunity on our part.
All the different activities that stadium was used for over the years, it attracted people from all over the Metroplex. I love motocross. I went to the motocross races all the time there.
I had boys I was raising, and they would bring and haul in all this dirt and fill up the center, and I mean, it was so loud you could hardly hear yourself think.
The concerts, we had great concerts. Garth Brooks when he came, you know, Jimmy Buffett, you know, we had some great concerts there.
Depending on what kind of a concert it was, be it a country concert or a rock and roll concert, all the people at the different venues are all kind of different, so we had to handle them in different ways.
They'd have the festivals that they'd have the Cinco de Mayos, and they'd have Indian festivals and just different things they would have there. It was just, you would deal with just different types of situations for whatever was going on.
They're getting set for the playoff game as they make it into the playoffs here at Texas Stadium.
We played over 700 high school games at Texas Stadium. And I don't think any facility in the country will ever match that. You know, look at Irving played there, Mack played there, Nemitz played there. We wanted them there every year.
One of the best things is the way they treated us. I can remember years back, and every year we ever win, and every game we ever played there, the kids go in, and one of the most exciting things that would happen was when they would go in the locker room. Each kid would have his name and number on a locker, and seeing their eyes light up, that was always really exciting, and that was something that really made an impression on them.
Probably the most interesting feeling, and is what I always talk to the kids about, is right before the game starts. You walk down that tunnel, and the crowd noise gets louder and louder. Of course, everything is amplified in that tunnel as you walk down that ramp, and they see your kids coming out. They just so loud, you get all the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and whether you want to or not, you kind of get glossy-eyed, you know. And the emotion of the moment was just outstanding.
You see the stadium your whole life, driving by, going to different Cowboy games, but when you actually get the chance to go out there and play on the stadium, it's just a different thing. Knowing that, you know, Michael Irvin was catching touchdowns, and